Tulsa, Washington, and you are...
I'm Chris Ewing. I am the weld instructor here at Lift. I teach welding classes in a few different locations currently, and I've been in the weld industry for about 20 years now.
Okay. So you've seen that it's been 20 years now. How do you think the welding industry has changed throughout that time?
Technology is always advancing, and those that are willing to adapt alongside that technology and use it as the tool it is, they tend to be more valuable to a company. Basically, the industry itself has shifted from just the manual welding, that's the only way to get anything welded, to robotics, to lasers, to using sound waves to weld things together. It's that constant creep forward that scares some people.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the industry?
Industry, as far as welding is concerned, is a great big open field. There is a website run by the American Welding Society called careersinwelding.org, and that often will have a lot of information on a bunch of different industries that welding touches on, because it's not just one cohesive weld industry. And we talked a little bit about the difference between like an industrial job inside of a shop versus maybe doing repair work or pipeline welding out in a field, all the way to the artistic side of things. So it really, the weld industry is ginormous and includes a thousand different jobs and careers. So it really, in order to describe it, you kind of have to narrow down the scope a little bit from there.
So since you said the job industry, welding has been definitely bigger. Do you think it's going to grow, especially in the upcoming years, or do you think it's going to decline, especially since now there's a push to go to college and then, stuff like that?
So, two-part question there. Do I think it's going to grow or decline? I honestly imagine it's going to stay about the same. The real big difference here is with the baby boomer generation retiring. The number of openings are going to increase simply because we don't have the same number of skilled trades individuals getting into the industry as there are exiting the industry currently. So the number of job openings available, I believe, will actually continue to increase. Now, robotics and automation is going to play a role in that, so the individuals that, again, grow and stretch with the times and are willing to be part of that will continue to grow. But the hands-on welder will never go away entirely. There will always be some level of need for that. I forgot what the second part of your question.
So the second part was... Actually, yeah, never mind about that. That part, you answered
the first part of it.
Yeah, so that really helped with it. So, how do you think welding... So could you, describe, the job itself, how welding is?
So again, we would have to describe what a daily, welding job is, would have to narrow down the scope quite a bit, because for some people their daily welding job is putting on a scuba suit and diving underwater and welding on bridges and boats and stuff underwater. For some people it's suiting up to go into space and weld on equipment that's being placed out in space. The average manufacturing job, like we would see here in the Detroit area, is going to be more so show up to the same place every day. A lot of the times it's work that starts early, which a lot of people like, because then that frees them up most evenings and afternoons to have their regular family time, their life. There's repair work where you might have to travel to a different place every single day to be able to provide and keep the workflow going. You could be in the aerospace industry where it's mostly TIG welding, a very clean environment. The medical field, medical equipment that gets welded on, also very strict guidelines on what has to be done there, versus maybe you're manufacturing furniture where the threat to life and limb is not nearly as dramatic, so the requirements are not nearly as strict.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Mr.
Ewing.
I am so sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Ewing.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for coming on this interview.